Hi, and welcome to the Quayside Privacy Issue Case Study by Group 22. Case study is given. Short description. In 2017, Alphabet's Sidewalk Labs, an urban innovation organization, and a government-funded Waterfront Toronto Revitalization Corporation announced an initiative to build a smart city on the Toronto waterfront. In early 2020, the project was cancelled by Sidewalk Labs, their advisory board, over concerns about privacy and lack of public input. So, overview. Over the years, the technology industry has drastically increased. We have smart speakers, smart headphones, smartphones, smart watches, and etc. However, cities have not undergone such major changes. The Quayside project in waterfront Toronto was an attempt made to improve city infrastructure. Unfortunately, 4 people resigned from the company, Sidewalk Labs, over concerns about privacy and lack of public input. Anne Kavokian was an advisor on the Quayside project, but resigned in October 2018 after Waterfront Toronto and the Sidewalk Labs company refused to ban companies from collecting data that can be linked to a single person, also known as non-anonymous data. Shortly after Anne Kavokian's resignation, there's another resignee, Saidia Musavar, founder of Tech Girls Canada. She says on this phone that Sidewalk Labs were not showing how citizens' data would be used as far as making money for Toronto or the companies involved. She also said Sidewalk Labs representatives were not fully informing the residents of the consequences of letting their data be used. They mainly focused on the positive benefits of the data being used in the project. Micah Lasher, head of policy and communications at Sidewalk Labs, says that they were testing out the new implements of the Quayside project through workshops and public engagement opportunities. He claims it's important to try to accomplish new feats with the project, but that policies that protect the public interest need to be a part of it. So, list of concerns. The loss of anonymity. Profiles were made based on the actions you take in the area. Too much involvement in people's lives, such as through thermostats in the citizens' homes. They plan to even look into that. So it's not clear to what was being done with collected data. Were they selling it, etc.? Unclear about the ownership of the data. Fear that the data would benefit corporations first, and then secondly, the citizens. Here's a short video on, it's a CBC segment, giving an overview of the Quayside project. They explain in detail about specifications of the project infrastructure, as well as the concerns in regards to a person's data and privacy.
Now turning to a grand vision of the future for Canada's biggest city. It's been put forward by Sidewalk Labs, a subsidiary of Google's parent company. And along with big promises, it's creating a big controversy. Scott is here with the details. Okay, Scott, walk us through this huge development that's been proposed.
Yeah, big really is the word here. It's gone all the way from 5 hectares overnight to 200 acres. And so this is catching a lot of people by surprise for this. There's also, this is incorporating a lot of the unused portlands, pretty much a large portion of the remainder of what's on the Toronto waterfront. Take a look at the map in particular as far as what Sidewalk Labs is proposing and what they want to do. Take a look at the area right here. But one thing that is consistent with all the bells and whistles they've promised over the last couple of years, the Sidewalk Labs, they want to build it from the internet up. They want Wi-Fi everywhere, cameras, data collection, tracking every move, heated sidewalks, time constructions, 89% reduction in greenhouse gases. But But what is interesting here is in this 1,500-page report that was unveiled, is looking to develop this further area here, 200 acres in total. So instead of putting money down, Sidewalk Labs is sort of promising the benefits to the people of Toronto and Canada, for that matter, what is going to happen in the future. With no money down, take a look at what they're proposing specifically. 77 hectares here, so that's basically the size of a good-sized farm. Most of it remains on the port lands. They're also promising 44,000 jobs, even more with the construction and full-time jobs than that. They're promising 53,000 residents will move in, some rental, some below market costs. But the big promises, rather than putting money down to purchase this property, they're saying in the future, the people of Toronto and Canada could be the benefits of $14.2 billion of annual economic impact by 2040. Also $4.3 billion in annual tax revenue by that time as well. But for this to go through, they need approval by the year 2020. So a lot of politicians are saying we're not seeing a lot up front for a lot of promises down the road as far as what's going to happen here. So we'll see how the official reaction comes from Toronto as far as this big real estate proposal. And again, this is still a proposal.
And approval might be difficult because, as you've mentioned, it's grown in size and there are concerns also with privacy. So tell us a little bit why everyone is not so happy with the proposal.
Well, two is like this is a physical piece of property. Some calling it the most valuable real estate in Canada. Take a look at what we're talking about here. This is the Portlands, the eastern side. It's pretty much undeveloped, and there's going to be what kind of infrastructure is going to be needed to support, say, 53,000 residents there. What kind of water facilities, sewer, new plumbing, piping, electrical. But the big one is the LRT system. This is virtually untouched as far as transit. LRT is estimated to cost about $1.2 billion as far as getting a light rail in there. And this is what from Google and Sidewalk Labs, they say this is essential for moving people to this area. Here's a spokesperson for Sidewalk Labs as far as, this is a big deal for Toronto.
Our plan proposes a self-financing approach to break the deadlock that has bedeviled the waterfront LRT for well over a decade. So there's a huge area of undeveloped land, and the future tax revenues from that land could more than pay for the construction of the LRT.
So this is really what the Toronto councillors are looking at today. No money down, but big promises of money in the future. So again, this is a proposal, and really the first one of its kind from Sidewalk Labs, and taking a real close look at that 1,500-page report as far as what this future city might look like.
Yes, I think that's pretty interesting. Just a good overview quickly in a video. So case study resources. Resource 1 is a 2018 article on privacy concerns with the Quayside project. The article includes questions directed to resignees of Sidewalk Labs as well as the current employees. That's where we got the information from Anne Kavokian, Sadia Musafar. Resource 2 is the official Sidewalk Labs website that includes information on the project. So purpose. The purpose of this case study is to question if the loss of privacy required by smart cities is worth the projected societal benefits. So quickly we want to relate the Quayside project to the documentary The Great Hack. So the documentary shows how the data taken from us can be used inappropriately. So they showed targeted ads were used to strongly encourage certain Americans to vote for Donald Trump in 2016. It was done by looking through Facebook users' data points they collected. It was done without the knowledge of those Facebook users. You remember that they went through even their friends. They could go from one person through their friends list and so on. For the Sidewalk Labs project, they wanted to be able to track a person's actions to adapt to user preferences. This was done through internet connectivity in the area, cameras in the streets that were used in combination with AI, smart devices such as thermostats in every home, and these were going to be things that were always on, so they could track you at any time. Some employees of Sidewalk Labs were concerned with the amount of data they were to collect on an individual, and how it could be used to benefit corporations first and citizens second. With both the Quayside project and Cambridge Analytica, as shown in the Grey Hack, there's serious uncertainty of what is being done with a person's data without their knowledge. So additional and alternative views. Since the Quayside project has been shut down, we want to look at a similar project that's been deployed in China, Skynet. Project's name is Skynet, which is a massive video surveillance network owned by the Chinese government. More than 20 million cameras are deployed in public space across the country, and the claim is for tracking criminals. The system includes facial recognition to reveal personal identity. Multiple occasions have used the system to catch jaywalkers, having their names and pictures go up on a public screen. Problem links back to the Quayside project, which is personal data privacy. Here, people are always tracked by the system, and the government has full control of personal information, here being with Skynet. They may use it to check if your routing is suspicious, or simply check if you have broken the law, like the jaywalking example. Similarly, in the Quayside project, personal information used by the Alphabet company, which which even they cannot guarantee what will happen to the data. In both cases, the problem is that you do not have any control of your data, nor how they are used. So, another quiz reading was new rules with privacy being developed in Canada and regulations. So we're going to go over a few here and how they possibly contributed to the demise of the Quayside project. Jeez. So first, if the organization has used any automated decision system to make a prediction, recommendation, or decision about an individual, the organization must, on request by the individual, provide them with an explanation of the prediction, recommendation, or decision, and of how the personal information that was used to make the prediction, recommendation, or decision was obtained. Since Sidewalk Labs does not show a clear description of how they're going to use the data, it would not be possible to pass this regulation. So, second, subject to the regulations, on the request of an individual, an organization must, as soon as feasible, disclose the personal information that it has collected from the individual to an organization designated by the individual. If both organizations are subject to a data mobility framework provided under the regulations. So Sidewalk Labs were unwilling to answer the question of how a person's data would be used in the project. It is likely that the data they would gather on a person is not something that they would like to disclose. Additionally, Sidewalk Labs cannot determine who will have ownership of the data. So how will they disclose the collected information upon request? And so if you're curious about more regulations, follow this link here. Group reaction reflection. One of us felt that the case study people should know where the data is being used. As Sidewalk Labs were ignoring the question from the public. I agree. I was surprised with how involved Sidewalk Labs wanted to be with the home life of possible residents through smart technology. I think that Anne Kavokian leaving the company is very telling that something was going on behind the scenes. Smart technology is a double-edged sword. It provides features that could benefit our lives, but at the same time, we are giving up our privacy in return, a lot of the time at least. I think that heated sidewalks would be cool. Yes. I think that if the project were to succeed, there would be affordable housing for the people, and also new jobs, as they said in the CBC video, I believe. I wonder why there's so much involvement in people's lives. Yes, that is a good point. Summary. So the Quayside project was to convert a 12-acre plot of land into a technologically enhanced microcity, and it was started in October 2017. The plans. Project shut down on May 7th, 2020. 4 people resigned from the project due to privacy concerns of citizens. Concerns of privacy were because of the use of cameras, internet tracking, and other smart devices. It was focused on benefiting people's lives, but it really ignored the fact of privacy issues. So here we have the discussion questions. I'll come back to these after, but just quickly, do you think the Quayside project is a good or bad idea? Is there anyone around you that is not aware of data privacy? How would you explain data privacy to a non-computer scientist? I think that's a really important one. As a computer scientist, how does your view to the Quayside project change? Thanks for listening.